Dear school board members, thank you for listening to me tonight, and Superintendent. My name is Scott Bailey, and I'm here representing Community and Parents for Public Schools, also known as CPPS. In our last exciting episode at your meeting 2 weeks ago on February 10th, I asked you to consider launching an educational vision process with the Portland community to be followed by a strategic planning process to make that vision a reality. I'd like to provide a concrete illustration from that board meeting to clarify what I'm talking about. At that meeting, you were trying to figure out whether and how to spend an unexpected mid-year budget surplus. Now, I could start out by pointing out to you that the fact that you sent staff scrambling to put together a priority list with suggestions on how you could spend that money showed a lack of planning. You had not created a budget process that provides for mid-year adjustments in any orderly way. But I want to instead focus on a single point from that discussion. One of the items you considered spending money on was musical instruments. And as you were talking about the sorry state of our inventory of instruments, Director Regan asked a very good question. How did we get into this mess? So I talked to the arts TOSA during the meeting in the back and asked her what the annual budget was for buying new instruments. And she said, there was none. That's right, there was no budget line item for the purchase of new musical instruments. So let's take a look at that little factoid and, like a loose thread on a sweater, start pulling. If an organization has a serious, sustainable plan for a music program, for any kind of a program, it would have calculated the annual funding needed to support that program in a sustainable fashion. The fact that not only was there no sustainable budget, there was no budget at all, speaks volumes about the place of music in Portland Public Schools. Let's remember that wonderful arts night that the superintendent talked about. A lot of the funding for that was generated not by PPS, but by the community saying, we're so underfunding arts, we're going to put a tax on ourselves. Why isn't music more valued by PPS, one might ask? And I believe the answer is straightforward. There's no music test. Nature, after all, abhors a vacuum. No matter, we're never going to see a headline about the achievement gap among clarinetists or about how PPS drummers are having trouble keeping the beat. And my own favorite, if we expanded this discussion, would be PPS photography students top state. Little inside joke, sorry. My wife teaches photography. But because there is no test, music and all of the arts are not considered part of the core curriculum, and so we refer to them as extras or specials. Whatever you might feel about them, your actions betray your values, and that brings us back to the lack of educational vision. If we don't have an educational vision, and I'll wrap this up quickly, our default is teach to the test. And no matter how much our teachers and principals and students resist that, the pressure is relentless. If we don't have that vision, that's our default.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bailey.
Thanks.